Alright. Hey everybody. This drone video is gonna be a little different because I didn't get the audio from when I actually flew this drone. So I'm just going back in retrospect and narrating what I recall from this. This was back in August of last year. As I kind of narrate this, it's January 13th. The wolf moon. Oh! I don't know why that's important, but well, yeah, I do. Okay, so what this is looking north. This is north of Haines. I just gotten back to the van after coming to Ohio for July. So this is like kind of early August, getting back to the van, which was parked in Haines at the ferry parking lot for a couple weeks. Anyways, so I'm going north. I'm going towards the Yukon, and I'm like, well, there's only a couple times I can fly, like really bring the drone up before I hit the border. And so this was one of those flights, and this is looking west. It's getting towards sunset. To the right was north, and that's where I was like to go up into the Yukon. And this is rivers that are flowing into on the left side of the tip of Haines, I'm pretty sure. Although, you know, I might have to go look at a map and jog my memory for a second on those routes. Anyways, zooming back to the van, you see it there, parked over there in the parking lot. There it is. So that guy, man, I've been doing that for 2 years now, and I gotta figure out, I'm back in Columbus right now in this space that I've had for a little bit, finally making the most use of the space in this like loft, especially as a studio space. And holy cow, I feel a lot more productive. You know, being in a van for 2 years, the sleep interruptions and just the things on the road that don't contribute to the very most productive work and like getting things done mode that I don't know, I just like that I'm getting here is like, heck yeah. All right. So I'm making some progress and I'm taking some notes, and I'm like, well, once I hit the road again, I'm gonna double down on finding the right spot to make a studio space that has nature and fresh water, fresh air, and nature, and did I say nature? And people, you know, and like swimmable water corridors. That's important. Great access to food, to healthy food, you know, just all the things. Community, you know, you name it. Location, 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 right? Anyways, so far my conclusion is that's not LA. And the alternative might be Boulder, might be Canmore. Why didn't I say Canmore first? You know, I'm US native, and so it's easier to go to Boulder, but man, Canmore's great. Lots of places in Canada, maybe Alaska, maybe Haines Junction, maybe lots of places. I think those would be more nomadic destinations, but when I plan on locating myself somewhere central to all of those, I kind of think of stretching it between the Rockies and the Pacific coast. And the more I learn, the more I'm like, well, Rockies, but include the Sound and the Pacific coast north of California. Yeah, it might be a good metric. You know, I can come down there. I can come down. It's okay. Come down to Baja. I think that's the general region of migration, and I need to work on improving the strength of the locations they're in. And that's kind of just where my head is on being a guy in a camper van that's working remote and doing the digital nomad thing and wants, good community, stable community in that sense. And I want to foster like healthy relationships while being able to be connected in nature and all that stuff. And so I think just finding that is important and continual. So that's just what I'm just talking out loud as you're watching water go by. Holy crap, who would be watching this? If you're watching this, I hope you're entertained. That's all I can say. I was like playing around with the drone here and trying to doing a little bit of these where I go like following the general motion of the river, and then some counter to that, and some just floating still. And when I go back to watch it several months later, I'm like, I can't necessarily tell all the moments it was doing one or the other. So it's a fun thing to just kind of like watch as you're looking at all these ripples in the golden hour on the water here, the very silty water from the glaciers and stuff. Anyways, so we're here in Haines. We're flying the drone back in August. And, just thinking about, I had earlier in the summer in May gone on an electrical engineering trip up to 3 Inuit communities in the Arctic Circle. And so I think at this point, I was still working on the report for that trip. And I'm still in general kind of like drawing conclusions and insights from the trip. It was really eye-opening. I mean, we visited, these Inuit communities that had been communities for like thousands of years, back before the U.S. existed, and before the conquest to the West. They had come from the East in a lot of scenarios, and a little bit of the West in interesting ways. But either way, there was a lot of history there that I was starting to learn, and also like configurations of organizations that manage power grids at tribal kind of levels, and how that the dynamics of native communities plays into just the the organization of how nonprofit funds go, and state incentives and federal incentives and all that kind of stuff. Because Alaska is in a place where it's probably the best place for the U.S. to legitimately explore micronuclear in the least riskful way possible. Not that there's the thought of, well, they're considering starting it with the military systems and like Air Force bases and stuff, which I mean, that's all public information, and that makes sense because that has the right technical people as part of the teams that are taking care of that in order to keep a lid on it from an engineering perspective. Whereas some of the technical domains aren't very well, like the education systems in that region didn't have justice done to them by